What did Diddy do? Last night we discussed the publicly available facts related to the Diddy indictment and got the chance to play several insane video clips that have become very disturbing given what we now know. What is a Diddy freak-off party, and how was superstar Justin Bieber involved in all of this? Buckle up, because we dig into all of that and more. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Enjoy. Black Epstein.
Black Epstein. Okay, is that maybe?
So what is going on here? What is he charged with? Educate me. Anybody.
So the thing with Diddy is, first of all, apparently it's just been, you ever notice this always happens with Hollywood, where it will just be sort of an open secret that someone's a creep or a criminal or a weirdo? Like, it took, Harvey Weinstein, everyone would make public jokes about him being this huge perv who like does casting couch stuff, and no one does anything about it. No one ever calls the police or sues him. There's just suddenly a feeding frenzy and everyone comes out and like is a martyr about it. So Diddy kind of had this aspect. There's been all these other rappers would rib Diddy and say like, oh, he's a creep. And you have these stories that'll host these parties and like his house is weird. Like supposedly there's a camera in every room of his house and there's all this strange stuff. And so there's been jokes about this for ages. And what's finally happened is they raided his home and investigated it. And then last week, he was arrested on charges of sex trafficking and a few other things. And the reason this is big, because obviously a lot of hip-hop artists are criminals in various degrees, is people speculate he had these big parties and he has cameras in his house and all this strange stuff, that he might have done the whole alleged Epstein thing of get videotape of people so he has compromising information on them, and that now that he's finally going on trial, all of this could come out. Or he might, commit suicide in prison, and just that happens sometimes. Sometimes people commit suicide and the cameras are all turned off and all of the staff at the prison are asleep, and you can't prevent that or do anything about it.
I have to arrive fashionably late.
All right. Not too late, though.
Not too late?
Not too late, please.
What time would you like me there?
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
But not too late. Because, once you get there, the party really starts.
You should name some names. These are all allegations, like rumors. We're not saying they're true, but like, who are some of the names that are getting floated out? Because I think that is why genuinely germane to this story. And
Chrissy Teigen and John Legend are two big ones are Chrissy Teigen and John Legend. And Chrissy Teigen famously or infamously had that, sort of a hot mic moment. I think it was at a Grammys a couple years back in like 2015, where she was asked, and it was just, again, red carpet kind of thing, was like, oh, you're here with John Legend. What was what's the weirdest place you guys have ever done it in public? And she just all of a sudden off the cuff says the Obama thing. And John Legend sort of goes, very, wide-eyed very quickly, and everyone's sort of looking around. He goes, and then he pops in and is like, oh, we're not going to be getting into that. And then they like, one of their publicists put out some statement that, oh, it was the DNC, and it was just like, and Obama wasn't there, and it wasn't something. So another big one that I mentioned when I was at Tucker earlier this week was Oprah Winfrey. That Oprah Winfrey is someone who's heavily associated with these things. Oprah Winfrey was also associated with Harvey Weinstein and associated with procuring, or at least identifying these young actresses for getting on. Jay-Z and Beyonce. This is a huge one. Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Jay-Z is the one I've heard the most of.
That's like a really big one. And people, there's been a lot of allegations as to behavior between Puff Daddy and other, Diddy and other male artists. But again, these are just allegations that are not in the charges. But yeah, Diddy, Beyonce, Meek Mill in Philadelphia, Justin Bieber, who, there's a lot of videos of when he was like 15 and Diddy was the guy who kind of, Bieber first came up on YouTube and he was like one of the first big YouTube sensations, goes viral early on. Diddy discovers him and then brings him in. And there's just all these old videos coming out of Justin Bieber being very young around Diddy and, now looked at in a different light. And people are asking a lot of questions as to what went on there. And there's probably a few others that's just off the top of my head, a few that I can't remember.
Jack, let's pause on the Justin Bieber one, because we have this clip from when it looks like Diddy was about 40 years old in this clip, and he's with Justin Bieber, who's 15. And now in retrospect,
it's weird.
107.
Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. I have been given custody of him. He signed to Usher.
I'm signed to Usher.
I had legal guardianship of Usher when he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So and we gonna go full crazy.
I'm going crazy.
It's atrocious video games.
Yeah, supposedly
Pretty weird.
one of Diddy's former drug dealers told the New York Post that his parties were, quote, weird, and they would like go all day, but then really ramp up at midnight, and they would call them freak off sessions, and people
Is
get
this-
high on.
Eyes wide shut type stuff.
I haven't seen that movie. I'm not
Yes.
degenerate like
I
you,
don't
Charlie.
A little more urban vibes, but yeah. Some
I have not
documentary,
seen the
actually,
film,
like-
but it's
less
like.
less
documentary.
Vienna, more South Central.
Can you
but
guys
yes.
blame me out? Bail me out. The Eyes Wide Shut is a commonly well-known thing of like rich people that right. You guys know that?
Yeah, they wear masks and they do sex
Okay, good.
parties,
Thank
like
you.
very
All right.
Euro
Rites of initiation.
style.
Yeah, it's Nicole Kidman and Tom
It was
Cruise.
Stanley Kubrick's
is,
last film. I mean, come on.
Stanley Kubrick's last film. They had to
So-
take him out after that one.
But watch this now. So you just saw Justin Bieber as a kid, and then if you actually listen to the words, and I'm stealing this from whoever posted this on TikTok, but when you actually listen to the words of what Justin Bieber's saying, cut 109.
Lost myself at a Diddy party. Didn't know that's how it goes. I was in it for a new Ferrari, but it cost me way more than my soul. Wasn't worth all the fortune and fame. All the girls never walking the same. Signed a paper so he never has to ever say sorry. Lost myself at a Diddy party.
Wow. You guys are educating me here.
So
Keep going.
So he lost himself at a Diddy party. He was in it for the fame and the Ferrari, but he lost his soul, much more than his soul. Women didn't walk the same way, which is pretty graphic. And then he says he lost himself at a Diddy party. Repeats himself. I mean, I'd never heard that song until all these rumors came out.
Sign the papers so we'd never have to say sorry. And look, like, to me,
Yeah, that's the
or
big
anyone
line.
who's
You're
been
right.
around Hollywood, this is a form of an initiation ritual. It's sort of like, if you want to be cool, you got to hang out at the party. And if you want to be one of the party people, then you gotta keep going. And if you want the next deal, or if you want the next endorsement or the next project or whatever it is, and you're young, well, the idea is you go to the party, and whatever Diddy says, Diddy goes, right? So, you've got to outdo whatever the next thing they could think of is, and supposedly that was what these freak-offs were. But, this isn't the same time that, obviously there's been millions of stories, thousands of stories about this type of behavior in Hollywood. I think this is just one of the times where something has come out that's really they've decided to go after him. And there are some Me Too aspects to this where similar to the casting couch stuff, like the Harvey Weinstein style stuff, but it definitely goes beyond that.
So here's what's interesting as well about it is because Hugh Hefner in LA would throw these big elaborate parties, and he's famous for having planted video cameras all throughout the Playboy Mansion. So he would invite these really important people, really famous people. They would go, they would do untoward things, and he would basically have blackmail on them. And so nobody ever touched Hugh Hefner. And a lot of people are thinking that this is kind of the same model that P. Diddy was following. But what's interesting is that like these rumors had been around for years, and then finally it was his ex-girlfriend, an R&B singer named Cassie. She filed a lawsuit in November 2023 saying that he plied her with drugs and viciously beat her on many occasions over the course of 10 years. And she was apparently signed to his label in 2005. and she filed the case under the New York Adult Survivors Act. And then they settled the lawsuit like basically 2 weeks later. And then that was on 17th of November. Then on the 23rd of November, 2 more women came forward to accuse Sean Combs, P. Diddy, of sexual abuse. And then on December 6th, another woman alleged that Combs and 2 other men raped her in 2003. And then in February, a music producer, Lil Rod Jones, came forward and said that he was pressured to procure and engage in acts with sex workers between 2022 and 2023. And then all that kind of led towards his houses getting raided in March. And so everybody's kind of been wondering. And then, by the way, CNN leaked that video. Do we have that video, guys, of where he actually beat up Cassie, the girl who filed the original lawsuit? Oh, yeah. So CNN gets this footage of Diddy beating, and it's really graphic. So I just want to say, like, apologies in advance, but this sort of shows, you can play it as B-roll. There's no audio. But so his house gets raided, and then like a few months later, this video comes out of P. Diddy just like beating the crap out of this Cassie girl who filed the original lawsuit. And so it kind of made everybody go, oh, this guy is a monster. And then for them to now fully arrest him, and with all the allegations, all the weird stuff, it's not looking good for Diddy. So the Chiron says, Diddy do it? I would say this is one of the strongest pieces of evidence, let alone the fact that 50 Cent's been hinting at this for years, let alone like the Mike Tyson on the couch scene where he didn't want him to touch him, let alone the Justin Bieber stuff. There's a lot of weird things around. There it is. Yeah. So for those of you listening, this is Mike Tyson on a couch, looks like on like Arsenio Hall or something from the 90s, grabbing Diddy's hand and like making sure it's not touching him.
Who is Clive Davis?
I don't know. I don't even know who John Legend is. That's how like I bad I am on celebrities.
Yeah, everyone says Clive Davis.
Isn't that the producer? Yeah.
They say he's
Columbia
behind
Records.
this or something. Is that right? I don't know.
Behind it?
I don't know. They say that he's the mentor of Diddy or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
Jack, you say that he might be Black Epstein.
Oh yeah, Clive Davis, famous Hollywood producer and like A&R guy. So he's a music executive that, yeah, I mean, he's legendary status. We should show his image because he's kind of like got a famous look. He's super old now.